Welcome my dear friends and students. In today's video, I am going to explain a very important property of fluid, that is the viscosity. This viscosity is also considered as another name called as a fluid friction. Now in order to explain this property, let us consider a very simple experiment. Here I am considering the two fluids which are very familiar to us. The first one is the water and second one, that is the honey. Now when this water is poured from one glass to another glass, that water can flow very easily from one container to the another container. The flow of water is soft and it doesn't stick to the vessel. Now here similarly, if you consider the flow of second fluid, that is the honey. Now when this honey is poured from the container, now let us see how that honey that will be poured. It will flow at a slow rate and it stick to the vessel in which we take. So we consider here the two examples of the fluid. That is one which flow easily and can't stick to the vessel, and second one, that is the fluid which flow at a slow rate and stick to the vessel. So that's why we consider here the important property of that fluid. Why this difference happen? One fluid flow easily but the other fluid doesn't flow it easily. It takes some time to flow. Its rate of flow is slower than the water. So this is because this difference is because of the property of fluid called as the viscosity. So that's why I write here, when we pour water from the glass, it flows freely. When we pour the water from the glass, it flows freely and quickly. It takes a very short time to transfer from one vessel to other vessel. But at the same time, when we pour the another fluid, that is the honey, it flows slowly. Honey flows slowly and stick to the container, while water flows freely and it doesn't stick to the container. This difference in flow is due to the fluid friction, the property of the fluid, and this fluid friction is nothing but the viscosity. Now this friction is because of both factors. Which are they? That is the friction because of the different layers of the fluid. Whatever the frictional force that occur between the two layers of the fluid. If we consider these are the two layers, now whatever the force of friction occur between that two layers, that causes this fluid friction, and at the same time, if you consider the flow of that fluid on from the particular surface, suppose this is a glass plate, and if we pour the honey or water, and when this honey or water that will move, that will flow over that surface, or when we pour that particular fluid in the surrounding medium, that is air, then that surrounding medium or the medium which is in contact with that fluid also play an important role in opposing the motion of the fluid. So that's why right here, this fluid friction is because of friction between fluid layers itself and friction between fluid and the surrounding. Now if we define that viscosity, then we can define in this two way. That is the property of fluid due to which a relative motion between different layers of a fluid experience the dragging force. This is a one type of force which opposes the motion of layer, that is called as the dragging force. Or you can define in another way the property of fluid due to which an internal, because this is the force which occur between the different layers of the fluid, that's why it is called as internal. It is produced from the inside. Internal fluid, that is the frictional force, come into play when the fluid is in motion. And how? In different form or in the form of different layers having their relative motion. Let us repeat the definition again. The property of the fluid due to which relative motion between the different layers of fluid experience the dragging force, or the property of the fluid due to which an internal frictional force come into play when the fluid is in motion in the form of different layers having the relative motion. Now let us explain how viscous and non-viscous liquid flow. From the diagram we can easily explain the concept of viscous flow and the non-viscous flow. Now from the first diagram it is very clear that if we consider this layer is a central layer of a fluid, that is the viscous fluid, that is layer of water or honey. Then from the both sides of this central layer, if we observe that the velocity goes on decreasing, it means the velocity of a fluid layer which is at the center, that is maximum, and its velocity goes on decreasing on its both sides. I draw here the parallel lines to show the different motion of the different layers. Now here this layer gives the velocity as well as the direction of flow. All the layers of the fluid that flow in the same direction but with the different velocity. That's why we can say that here this is the particular fluid, that is the water or honey, which flow with the different velocity. So that's why right here different layers flows with the different velocity, and this occurs in case of the viscous flow when the different layers of the fluid flows with the different velocity, then this type of flow is called as a viscous flow. Example of the viscous fluid, that is the water and honey. If we compare between water and honey, then honey is more viscous than the water. Now if you consider the another type of flow, that is the non-viscous flow, when particular fluid flows in such a way that different layers of the fluid move with the same velocity. What I say? In case of the particular fluid, if all the layers of the fluid flow with the same velocity, then this type of flow is called as a non-viscous flow. The example of here non-viscous liquid is a liquid helium, which can flow in this type, that is with the same velocity at 2 Kelvin. Now in order to explain how the velocity of different layers get changed as we move away from the stationary layer. If you consider this is the fixed glass plate, and if certain fluid, that is the honey, is poured on that glass plate, then when we consider the different layers of that fluid, Then what is the velocity of the different layers of fluid? That can be explained from this diagram. I consider here this is the stationary layer on which we pour some fluid, we pour some liquid. Now here if you consider the first layer of the fluid which is in contact with that stationary layer, this layer will offer the maximum frictional force, experience the maximum frictional force because of this surface which is in contact with that fluid. This layer also experience the drag force because of this layer. Now as we move away from this stationary surface, it is found that the velocity of the layer goes on increasing as we move away from the stationary layer. Now let us consider the three layers. The one layer having velocity v at a distance x from the stationary layer. Second layer below this particular layer at a distance x minus dx having velocity v minus dv. And consider one more layer which is above that particular surface, that is at a distance x plus dx and with the velocity v plus dv. So from these three layers it is very clear that we consider which that three layer. One layer at a distance x whose velocity is v, another layer at a distance x minus dx whose velocity is v minus dv, and third one, the third layer at a distance x plus dx having velocity v plus dv. Now it is very clear that as we move away from the stationary layer, it is very clear that velocity of that layer goes on increasing. Now if you consider here the flow of water in a river, then how the different layers of water that flow. Now if we consider, these are the two sides of the river which are fixed, which are stationary, and if you consider this is the water flow in this direction, then you will observe that the flow of water, the velocity of water, that is maximum at the central portion, and its velocity goes on decreasing toward both sides of the river, bank of the river. So this is how the different fluid flow depending upon its nature, whether you force between the different layers which opposes their relative motion, that is the viscous flow, and there is a particular liquid in which different layers that will move with the same velocity, that is the non-viscous flow. Now let us consider some important points about the viscosity which help us in solving the objectives. The first point is, it is the property of fluid, but that fluid must be in motion. It is not the property of fluid which is at rest. So that's why the first point keep in mind about the viscosity is that whenever fluid is in motion, in that case only that viscosity occurs. Then second one, it is the internal friction between the different layers of the fluid. So that's why right here, internal friction of the fluid between different layers which are in motion, that is called as the viscosity. Now here, if we consider such a fluid, that is the ideal fluid. We already explained the properties of ideal fluid. It is a non-viscous. It means for a fluid which is non-viscous, its viscosity is 0. So keep in mind, ideal fluid has 0 viscosity. Now this viscosity is because of the transport of momentum. Whatever there is a change in velocity between the different layers. That rate of change of momentum, that is directly proportional to the impressed force. Whatever the force exists between the different layers, that causes the change in momentum. And because of that change in momentum between the different layers of fluid, we have the property called as viscosity. It means what is the cause of viscosity? That is the transport of the momentum. Then in case of liquid, viscosity is because of the particular force which exists between the any two molecules of that liquid. The force which exists between the two molecules of same substance, that force is called as the cohesive force. Later on we have to explain in the portion surface tension, that is intermolecular forces and the types. So here in liquid, viscosity is due to cohesive force, while in gases that viscosity is due to the collision between the fast moving molecules. All of you know that gas molecules are always in state of random motion. So keep in mind, we have the viscosity in liquid because of the cohesive force. We have the viscosity in gas because of the collision between the fast moving molecules. Now we have to consider the effect of different factors on viscosity. So let us consider the first effect, that is the effect of temperature. With the increasing temperature, viscosity of the liquid decreases, but at the same time viscosity of the gas increases, because increase in temperature causes the increase in collision, and this increase in collision causes the increase in viscosity. So that's why keep in mind, with increase in temperature, viscosity of the liquid decreases, while viscosity of the gas increases. Now the reciprocal of viscosity is called as fluidity. Now as earlier we consider the two examples, that is water and honey. Now we know that honey is more viscous than the water. Now if I ask whose fluid has the more fluidity, so you can easily, that is the fluid having less viscous, that has the more fluidity. So water has more fluidity than the honey. So reciprocal of viscosity is called as the fluidity. Then what is the effect of pressure on viscosity? If we increase the pressure, then viscosity of liquid increases. But one exception is there in case of water. If we increase the pressure, the viscosity of water decreases, while viscosity of the gas remain unchanged. Though we increase the pressure, but the viscosity of gas remain unchanged. Viscosity of a liquid increases with increasing density. Now if we consider the factor density, then viscosity of liquid increases with the increase in density, but for a gas it decreases. It means in case of the liquid, if the density increases, then viscosity increases, but in case of the gas, if density increases, viscosity decreases. Then keep in mind, SI unit of viscosity is Newton into second per meter square. So let you know that Newton per meter square is nothing but the Pascal. So you can write Newton per meter square as a Pascal into second. So SI unit of viscosity is Pascal into second or Newton into second per meter square, which is also called as decapoise. And CGS unit is the poise, P-O-I-S-E. The relation between SI and CGS, that is 1 Pascal into second. equal to 10 points. This is the relation between SI and CGS unit of a viscosity. Now let us consider the two important concepts, that is the velocity gradient and the coefficient of viscosity. Now in order to define what do you mean by velocity gradient? So that is the rate of change of velocity with distance measured from the stationary layer. Earlier we had already explained, if this is the stationary layer and if we consider the different layers of the fluid and that are moving away from the stationary layer, then how these different layers of the fluid flow with the different velocity. Its velocity is v, this is v plus dv, this is v minus dv. Now how these different layers of the velocity fluid flow as we move away from the fixed layer. That is, we have to consider the velocity of the different layers of the fluid with respect to the distance. So this rate of change of velocity with distance measured from a stationary layer. This distance should be always measured from this stationary layer, called as a velocity gradient. This velocity gradient is also known as shear rate. Velocity gradient is also called as shear rate. Now here it is given by dv by dx. Velocity gradient is simply given by dv by dx. Now how this dv by dx come? Now consider a thin film of a fluid, that is the liquid, which flows between that two plates x and y, out of which one plate is a fixed and another plate is moving. Whenever we apply some force, that is the tangential force on this top plate, then these different layers of the liquid, these are the different layers which are present in that film. These are different layers that get shifted laterally. So here this is similar to that of when we apply a tangential force on the rectangular shaped body whose one surface is fixed, then these sides that get laterally displaced from A to A dash and B to B dash. In a similar way, we are considering here whatever the sides of the fluid initially that are parallel. When we apply some tangential force, then these are different layers of the fluid that get shifted laterally, that is from A to A dash, which can be represented as delta x. And you have to consider the distance of that displaced layer of the fluid from the fixed layer, that is the L. So that's why right here shear rate equal to shear strain upon time, that is lateral displacement upon its distance from the fixed layer. So that's why right here delta x by L, and you have to write the time delta t. In time delta t, these are different layers of the fluid that get shifted. So that is rate of change of displacement with respect to time is the velocity, and velocity of this velocity upon distance, that is called as the velocity gradient. So this is how we can define the velocity gradient. Let us revise again. The rate of change of velocity with respect to distance, that distance should be measured from the stationary layer, called as the velocity gradient, and its formula is dv by dx. Then shear rate, how this dv by dx occur? So for that you have to consider the shear rate as a whatever the shear strain produced on that film upon the time. Here shear strain is lateral displacement upon its distance delta x by L, and in time delta t. This rate of change of displacement with respect to time is the velocity. and velocity upon distance is nothing but the velocity gradient. Now let us move toward the second concept, that is the coefficient of viscosity. Now according to Newton's law of viscosity, this viscous force depend upon the two factors. The first one is the area and second one is a velocity gradient, that is dV by dx. So that's why right here, according to Newton's law of viscosity, viscous force acting on any layer is directly proportional to the area. It is directly proportional to the velocity gradient. So that's why I write here the combined statement as F proportional to A into dV by dx, where A is a area and dV by dx is a velocity gradient. If we replace this proportionality sign, then we have to write one constant which is a eta, which is called as coefficient of viscosity. So F equal to eta into A into dV by dx, where F is a viscous force, eta is the coefficient of viscosity, which is also called as proportionality constant, A is a area and dV by dx is a velocity gradient. Now if you want to find the formula for coefficient of viscosity, so it is F upon A into dV by dx. Now the coefficient of viscosity can be defined as, that is, it is the viscous force. F is a force upon area into velocity gradient. So that's why right here it is a viscous force per unit area per unit velocity gradient. What is coefficient of viscosity? It is the viscous force per unit area per unit velocity gradient, that is called as the coefficient of viscosity. So let us revise again. Coefficient of viscosity, for that you have to consider the factors on which viscous forces depend. Viscous force depend upon two factors, area and velocity gradient. Both are directly proportional to the viscous force, or we can say that viscous force is directly proportional to area, viscous force is directly proportional to velocity gradient. Just write both statement in mathematical form. Here replace this proportionality sign, write one constant, that is the eta, which is called as coefficient of viscosity, and write down the formula, that is coefficient of viscosity equal to F upon A into dV by dx, and from that you can easily define as it is the viscous force per unit area per unit velocity gradient.